There is a book that was written nearly 100 years ago, set in a civilization that collapsed over 2,000 years ago, and it still contains the most practical, actionable, and honestly life-changing financial advice you will ever read. It has sold millions of copies. It has been handed down through families for generations. Warren Buffett has referenced it. Financial advisors recommend it. And yet the vast majority of people have never read it. Or if they have, they read it once, nodded along, and then went right back to spending everything they earned. The book is called The Richest Man in Babylon, written by George S. Clason and first published in 1926. And the reason it still holds up a century later is simple. Human nature hasn't changed. The way we earn, spend, want, rationalize, and self-sabotage with money is exactly the same today as it was when people were trading in gold coins on the streets of ancient Babylon. So today we are going through the 10 most powerful lessons from this book, the ones that have the most direct impact on your financial life right now in 2026. And I promise you, by the end of this video, at least one of these lessons is going to hit you somewhere personal. So give this video a thumbs up and let's dive in. Lesson 1. Start thy purse to fattening. The very first lesson in the book is the one that almost everyone skips over because it sounds too simple to be meaningful. The lesson is this: for every 10 coins you earn, spend only 9. In other words, save at least 10% of everything you make, every single time you get paid, before you spend a single dollar on anything else. This is the pay yourself first principle, and it is the foundation that every other lesson in this book is built on. The reason most people never build wealth isn't that they don't earn enough. It's that they treat saving as whatever is left over after spending, and there is never anything left over. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, built his entire fortune on this one habit alone before he ever learned to invest. He didn't start with a big income, he started with a commitment to keep a piece of everything he earned, and he never broke it. If Mark earns $5,000 a month and commits to saving just $500 of it, which is 10%, and invests that consistently at a 10% annual return, he will have over $1 million in 30 years. Not because he was brilliant, but because he was consistent. Lesson 2, control thy expenditures. The second lesson is the uncomfortable twin of the first one. Saving 10% only works if you don't let the other 90% quietly expand to fill every corner of your life. Clason calls this confusing necessary expenses with desires, and it is the most expensive mistake most people make on a daily basis. The lesson here is brutally honest. Your necessary expenses will always grow to match whatever income you allow them to. The moment your paycheck increases, your definition of what you need expands right along with it. A bigger apartment becomes a necessity. A newer car becomes a necessity. More buying, more dining out, more of everything. All of it quietly gets reclassified from want to need. Controlling your expenditures means drawing that line deliberately and defending it every single month, no matter what your income does. Lesson 3. Make thy gold multiply. Lesson 3 is where the book shifts from saving to building. And it is the moment things start to get genuinely exciting. Arkad teaches that saving money is not enough on its own. The money you save must be put to work so that it earns money of its own. In 2026, this means investing. This can be in index funds, dividend stocks, real estate, retirement accounts, or whatever investment vehicle. The principle is the same. Your money needs to be out there working while you sleep. Clason describes this beautifully in the book. He says that every coin you save is like a worker you've hired, and every return that worker generates can hire more workers. This is compounding, and it is the closest thing to a financial superpower that a regular person has access to. The sooner you put your workers to work, the more of them you'll have when you need them. Lesson 4, guard thy treasures from loss. Here is the lesson that separates the people who build wealth from the people who build and then lose it. Arkad's fourth principle is simple. The first goal of any investment is to not lose what you put in. Before you chase returns, before you chase growth, before you chase anything, protect the principle. In practical terms for 2026, this means being deeply skeptical of anything that promises extraordinary returns with little or no risk, because that combination does not exist in the real world. It means diversifying so that no single bad decision can wipe you out. and it means being especially careful with the advice of people who are more excited about your money than you are. If a deal sounds too good to be true in Babylon in 500 BC, it sounds too good to be true in your city in 2026 as well. Lesson 5. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. This lesson caused a lot of debate when the book came out, and it still causes debate today. Clayson's argument is that owning your home, rather than paying rent indefinitely, is one of the most reliable ways a regular person can build wealth over time. When you own a home, your monthly payment builds equity. When you rent, it builds your landlord's equity. And over 30 years, the difference is enormous. Now, this doesn't mean rushing into home ownership before you're financially ready. It doesn't mean buying more house than you can afford. It means that if you're in your 30s or 40s and home ownership is within reach, the long-term financial case for it is as solid today as it was in ancient Babylon. Lesson 6. Ensure a future income. Lesson 6 is the one that most people in their 30s and 40s know they should be following and quietly aren't. Arcad teaches that every working person has a responsibility to provide for a time when they can no longer work, whether that's retirement, illness, or circumstances they couldn't have predicted. In 2026, this means maximizing your retirement contributions, maintaining a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and having adequate insurance coverage so that one bad event doesn't undo years of disciplined saving. The people who skip this lesson are the ones who reach 60 with good incomes and almost no safety net, because they treated every dollar they earned as spending money. Protecting your future self is not optional. It is the whole point. Lesson 7. Increase thy ability to earn. One of the most underappreciated lessons in the entire book is this one. Arcad didn't just manage his money better than everyone else. He worked relentlessly to become more valuable so that he could earn more in the first place. He studied. He practiced his craft. He sought out mentors. He invested in himself before he invested in anything else. In 2026, this translates directly. The highest returning investment most people in their 30s and 40s can make is in their own skills, their own credentials, and their own professional value. A $2,000 course that leads to a $15,000 raise has a 650% return in the first year alone. No investment in the world can compete with that. Increasing your ability to earn is not separate from the wealth building process. It is the foundation of it. Lesson 8. Find thy desire and satisfy it. This lesson surprises people because it doesn't sound like financial advice at all, but Clayson is making a deeply practical point. You have to know what you actually want your money to do for you, or you will never build enough of it. People who save with no specific purpose tend to find reasons to stop saving. People who are working towards something concrete, such as a paid-off home, early retirement at 58, or enough passive income to walk away from a job they hate. Those people have a reason to stay the course when things get hard. Write down what you want your money to make possible. Be specific, and then let that vision pull you forward every time discipline alone isn't enough. Lesson 9. The 5 Laws of Gold. Near the end of the book, Clayson introduces what he calls the 5 Laws of Gold. And they are worth spending a moment on because they summarize almost everything else in the book. Gold, meaning money, it comes gladly and in increasing quantities to the person who saves at least 1/10 of their earnings. Gold labors diligently for the wise person who finds it profitable employment. Gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner, who invests it under the guidance of people who know how to handle it. Gold slips away from the person who invests in unfamiliar businesses or purposes, and gold flees from the person who forces it to impossible earnings, or who follows the advice of tricksters and schemers. Read those 5 laws again, and replace the word gold with the word money, because they are as true today as the day they were written. Lesson 10. Where there is determination, there is a way. The final and perhaps most human lesson in the entire book is this. The single biggest obstacle between most people and financial freedom is not a lack of income, a lack of knowledge, or a lack of opportunity. It is a lack of sustained determination to keep going when the results are invisible. Clayson closes the book with the story of a man who escapes slavery and rebuilds his life from nothing, not through luck, not through a windfall, but through the relentless application of the principles he learned in Babylon. Every person reading that story is meant to recognize that their circumstances, however difficult, are not the reason they haven't built wealth. The reason is always the same. The decision to start and the determination to continue has not yet been made in an unbreakable way. If this video was valuable to you, please hit the like button and share it with someone who would benefit from hearing this. And subscribe if you haven't yet, because next week, we are getting into something that affects every single person watching this channel: the 7 financial mistakes most people make, and the exact steps to fix every single one of them before it's too late. That one goes up next week. See you then.